I can see into your thoughts, the young girl declared. The judge burst into laughter until she unveiled his deepest, darkest secret. The courtroom hummed with uneasy whispers. At its heart stood a small black girl, barely 8 years old. Her hair, woven in loose braids, framed a face smudged with dirt. A tattered blue jacket draped over her thin frame, its frayed sleeves hanging past her wrists. Her bare feet moved silently as she approached the imposing figure of Judge Harlan. Clearing his throat, the judge clutched his gavel tightly. "Who allowed this child in here?" he demanded. "She insisted on seeing you," the bailiff replied, his voice shaky. "She refused to talk to anyone else, sir." Harlan arched an eyebrow. "And why's that?" The girl raised her chin, her wide brown eyes locking onto his. "Because I can see into your thoughts," she said in a hushed tone. Silence fell over the courtroom. Then chuckles rippled through the spectators. The judge let out a sharp laugh, reclining in his leather chair. "You can see my thoughts? That's adorable, little one, but this isn't a playground for childish tricks." Yet the girl stood her ground, unwavering. "You don't believe me," she murmured. "Just like the others until I reveal what you've kept hidden for years." The laughter ceased abruptly. 2 days prior, Zara had been discovered wandering the streets, barefoot and alone, whispering things that made grown men flee in fear. "Your wife knows what you did last summer," she told a man in a suit. "You took money from your best friend's pocket," she said to a shopkeeper. "You're planning to run off with her sister," she informed another, her voice unnervingly calm. Each time their faces drained of color. One man shouted, "How could you know that?" before pushing her aside and bolting away. The police were summoned. "Where's your family?" an officer asked gently. Zara's voice was faint. "They're gone." "How do you know these things?" The girl's large eyes blinked slowly. "I see them in people's minds. I feel their secrets." "She's out of her mind," one officer muttered. But when Zara turned to him and said, "You're still wearing her perfume, aren't you? The woman you meet every Thursday," his face went white. "This kid's unnatural," his partner whispered. "What do we do with her?" "She keeps asking for Judge Harlan," another officer noted. "Let's take her to the courthouse. Maybe he'll know what to do." Now, standing in the courtroom center, Zara took another step toward the judge. "You've kept it buried for years," she said softly, her voice steady. "The thing you did. The one that still wakes you up at night, drenched in sweat." Harlan's smirk flickered for a moment. "You're making it up," he snapped. "You're just a frightened little girl craving attention." Zara lifted her small hand and gently placed it on his forehead. Gasps echoed through the courtroom. "Don't touch the judge," a lawyer hissed, but Zara didn't budge. Her eyes fluttered shut as if tuning into something deep within him. "You didn't mean to do it, did you?" she whispered. The judge's pulse quickened. "You pushed her. You didn't think the fall would kill her, but it did." Harlan's face turned pale. The room fell deathly still. "You buried her by the river," Zara murmured. "You thought no one would ever know. You became a lawyer, then a judge, convincing yourself you'd been absolved." Harlan leapt from his chair. "Enough!" he bellowed, slamming his gavel so hard it splintered. "This is nonsense. She's fabricating it all." But the girl didn't flinch. "Then why are you trembling?" she asked softly, her hand still resting on his head. The crowd buzzed with whispers. "Is it true? What's she talking about?" Harlan's breathing grew ragged. His eyes darted to the bailiff. "Remove her now." But Zara spoke again, her voice rising. "You see her every night in your dreams. The woman you buried. The one screaming in your mind right now." Harlan stumbled back, his face ashen. "How could you know that?" he whispered hoarsely. Zara opened her eyes and stared into his. "Because she's still screaming," the girl said. "And I can hear her." The courtroom descended into chaos. Reporters lunged for their cameras. Lawyers shouted over each other. The judge's gavel pounded repeatedly, but the sound barely pierced the rising storm of voices. "Order!" Harlan roared, his voice breaking. "Order in this court." But his hands shook uncontrollably. Zara stood motionless, her small hand still pressed lightly to his forehead. "You hear her too, don't you?" she whispered, her tone eerily calm. Her voice, her cries, the way she pleaded for you to stop. Lies. Harlan shouted, his face flushed as sweat poured down his brow. This child is manipulating you all. I've never hurt anyone. Zara tilted her head, her braids brushing her shoulders. Then why can I see her? The judge froze. You buried her by the riverbank, Zara continued, her eyes narrowing. You thought the current would carry her away, but the soil was heavy. You covered her with stones. Harlan's legs buckled. He gripped the edge of his bench, his knuckles white. Stop, he hissed. You kept her bracelet, Zara said, her voice now ringing over the crowd's gasps. You hid it in a box. It's still under the floorboards in your study, isn't it? Harlan's head snapped up. No one could know about the bracelet. No one. The room fell silent. A woman in the back row stood. What is she talking about? What bracelet? Zara's voice grew sharper. The one he tore from her wrist when she clawed at his face. The crowd erupted into frantic murmurs. Remove her now. Harlan screamed, his voice cracking. This is slander. She told me her name, Zara said, cutting through his outburst like a knife. Her name was Lila. She was 24, and you promised to drive her home that night. Harlan's mouth hung open. She trusted you, Zara said softly. But when she said no, you lost control. You pushed her. And when she stopped breathing, you panicked. You thought no one would ever know. Suddenly, Zara gasped and staggered back, clutching her head. She's screaming again, the girl cried. Her voice. It's louder now. She says she won't stop until the truth is out. The judge collapsed into his chair, his hands shaking violently. I didn't mean to, he choked out. I didn't mean to hurt her. It was an accident. The room went still. Every eye turned to Harlan as he sank to his knees. Lila was my sister, a young man in the audience shouted, tears streaming down his face. You told us she ran away, you monster. Reporters pushed forward with microphones. Lawyers scrambled to hold them back. Zara slowly lowered her hand. Her voice is gone now, she said quietly. She says she can rest. Within moments, officers surrounded the judge. You're under arrest for the murder of Lila Marwood, one declared. Harlan's face crumpled. I didn't mean to, he sobbed as they pulled him from the bench. It was supposed to stay a secret. No one was supposed to know. Zara's gaze followed him coldly as he passed. She always knew, the girl whispered. She just needed someone to listen. As the gavel fell for the final time, Zara stepped down from the stand. A reporter approached cautiously. How did you know all that? Zara's lips curved slightly. I don't just hear thoughts, she said softly. I hear the voices of those you've tried to silence. With that, she walked barefoot out of the courtroom, leaving a stunned silence behind her. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.